So we're going to take a short break from demonstrations, and in this video I want to now just unpack and share with you a really cool questioning framework. Now I could build this into the communication skills section later on, but instead we'll just build it in here because this section we're really presenting you with some actual tools now that you can start using right away to guide and help other people or yourself through the process of making shifts in your thinking so you can actually start really modifying your perspective in different aspects and areas of your life or helping other people through the same process. So here I'm going to link back to Socrates, an ancient Greek philosopher. There he is, cast in stone. The Socratic questioning framework or questioning process was named after Socrates. It's kind of like a form of open questions, where we are just simply, through our questioning process, inviting other people to reflect honestly and objectively upon their worldviews, perspectives, and sometimes, right, these questions we can repeat on multiple levels to create multiple shifts in perspective. All right. So this is a questioning framework that can really help a client or a person who's cognitively inflexible become really cognitively flexible, a little bit less rigid in their thinking. So the kinds of questions we're going to be looking at, it's kind of like a script. Again, we've built these questions into that resource 5 or 6 videos ago now. I will use them as more of a guide, right? I'll ask Karen back again in the next clip, do a demonstration. We're just going to look at more of a disruptive way of thinking that Karen has. We might even just use the same or a similar example as what we've just talked about. And we're just going to look at it now from a different perspective, right? From different angles. We want to look at any assumptions or a belief that Karen perhaps has. In the last video, in the last clip, Karen's relationship with uncertainty has historically been not so good. This would result in her freezing, stepping into a place of worry, in this place of catastrophic thinking. Should catastrophically expect the worst case scenarios to happen rather than the best case scenarios or the likely case scenarios. And what's true for Karen is true for most people most of the time, my friend. So when we, even conversationally with friends, family members, loved ones, employees, bosses, managers, we know that sometimes people just arrive at the wrong end of the stick. They'll jump to conclusions and then act as if the conclusions that they've arrived at are true, all right? So Socratic questions we can actually use in quite a stealth-like way. If we build them into our day-to-day vocabulary, all right, we can become extremely valuable members of society, members in the workplace, members of a workforce, family members, so on and so forth. What's the evidence for this thought? How do you know this thought is true? Is there any evidence against this conclusion being true? How do you know that what you think and what you feel and what you believe is actually accurate here? Because I guess we don't want to go around making incorrect assumptions, because that would be foolish, wouldn't it? Now, there's how we present these questions to people can obviously vary, and this is going to be on a relationship to relationship basis. Sometimes some people will operate out of all sorts of unhelpful thinking styles, cognitive distortions, and when a person's talking about how they feel, a person's always going to be talking about how they feel about a certain thing or a certain outcome, sometimes a certain perceived outcome. So are you basing your response here on facts or just on how you feel? I think Karen even openly admitted and took ownership of the fact that she's actually responding more to her feelings than the actual facts of what likely outcomes may actually be. When we're identifying a pattern of thought, i.e. a worst case scenario, is this thought black and white? Is it cast in stone? Is it set in stone? Is it rigid, unmovable, or is it perhaps a bit more complicated than that? And again, we're just asking very, very ambiguous, broad questions, very open questions. It simply invites and allows our clients to respond however they need to. If all roads lead to Rome, then we ask the questions that just simply gets them looking in different directions, different paths that they can take to get there. Could I be making an inaccurate assumption here? All right. When was the last time you made an inaccurate assumption? Well, 9 times out of 10, we don't know we're making inaccurate assumptions because most of the time we assume that what we assume is accurate. All right. Where that's very rarely the case. Am I looking at all the evidence or just what supports my beliefs? All right. Let's think back to Albert Ellis's 14 irrational beliefs. What I believe to be true is true all of the time. That's a limiting belief within itself. 9 times out of 10, in fact 99 times out of 100, or 999 million times out of a million, or whatever, we don't have all the evidence, do we? Of course we don't, all right? We just usually 9 times out of 10 look to justify that which we believe is true, don't we? So it's good to invite our clients to really reflect upon the honest answers of these questions. And there's a few others as well. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump back into another demonstration with Karen now. You've got this question framework in your workbook, so follow through. And just to disclose again, I'm not going to be reading them out rigidly, but instead I'll just be using them more as kind of like menu-based options. I'll just use them if I feel they're appropriate as the conversation evolves. So I look forward to seeing you again in the next clip. And remember, this is stuff that you can start building into your relationships and conversations with other people right away, if you will, but only choose.